Hello everyone. This video is a continuation of my previous video where I explain the theory of interior mapping shader and how to implement the same in Unity shader graph. I recommend you watch that video to understand what is going on here. In this video, I'll be adding a furniture plane with some animations within our interior map effect. Let's get into the video. According to the Joost van Dongen paper, we can add a parallel plane just before the wall where we want to render the furniture. The process remains the same as we discussed in our last video. We need to project a ray and calculate the minimum distance between the pixel point and the intersection point of the wall. But this time, we will consider the furniture plane in addition to the 6 wall planes. I will duplicate my shader and hlsl script to keep my previous work unchanged. Let's open the new hlsl script and do some modifications. We are going to do check-if close calculation for the parallel imaginary plane, also called the furniture plane, before the right wall plane. Duplicate the check-if close function. Replace the wall pose parameter with the furniture pose. The furniture pose is a few meters before the wall pose. Let's define the furniture pose to be 0.1 meters before the actual wall pose. Let's give a new texture to the furniture plane. Add a new input parameter to our interior mapping function to receive this furniture texture. We should be rendering the back wall of the furniture plane wherever the furniture texture is transparent. So in the check-if close function, before assigning the color and dist value, add an if condition to check if the alpha of the furniture texture is greater than 0.9. Let's import into the project the furniture texture I have. You can see my texture is having a sofa with a transparent background. In the shader graph, add one more input variable for the furniture plane. Add a texture 2D input for the same on the blackboard and assign it to our custom function input. Set the default value to the sofa texture that we just imported on the shader graph inspector. Now check the main preview and see that our furniture is added to our interior mapping effect. But there is one problem. As we see from a narrow angle, we see a multiple copies of sofa being rendered. To avoid this, I will go to my hlsl script and add a condition to the furniture plane. The condition is to render the furniture plane only when the angle of view with the right vector is within a certain limit. If we go back to our shader graph, we can see that our problem is solved. So we have successfully added the furniture, but this is a static texture. Let's now add a texture that will animate over time. Let me import a new texture. As you can see, the image has a sequence of pictures showcasing a dog shaking its tail. Let us convert this single image into an array of images in Unity. On the texture import settings, change the texture shape to 2D array. Set the columns to 5 and click apply. Now the texture has been converted to a texture array and you can see that the dog is shaking its tail as we move through the columns. I will also change my building wall textures to be an array so that we will have a single texture input instead of multiple texture inputs. In the hlsl script, change the texture 2D type to texture 2D array. To sample the array texture, the code has to be changed to sample texture 2D array and add an index parameter that represents the index of the texture in our array in our texture array. We should also receive this index from the input parameter of the check-if close function. Replace all the 6 textures with a single texture 2D array named cube text. Change the same for each wall plane code section and with the correct index. In the shader graph, delete all the individual textures for each wall and replace them with a single texture. Also assign the furniture texture array. Now the modified code is working, but the only thing is that the dog is not animated. We are passing a constant index value of 0 to the furniture plane. But what we want to do is to make the value dynamically change from 0 to 4 at a specific time interval repeatedly. To do that, I have a function and I will copy paste that into my code. Now replace the constant value with this function. Now if I check my shader graph, I can see my dog is shaking its tail. Awesome. Let's visualize the same in the scene. Create a new material with our shader and assign our building array and furniture array textures. Now drag and drop it to our queue. Now my dog is amazingly shaking its tail and sitting on the sofa, and it is super cool to see. Please like and subscribe to my channel to help me produce more quality content. Thank you for watching this video and I will see you in my next video.